Hello, everybody, and thank you for bearing with us for this. We just have like some technical issues, minor technical issues. Welcome to our Just to Easy Live webinar. We are your presenter for today. My name is Julie. And my name is Hiba. And we are really so thrilled to facilitate this webinar. We feel grateful to be here today, and we're so glad that you have time to wait for us and you'll be able to join us, especially we know that most of you are teachers, Hiba, and this time can be very busy for them. So thank you again for joining us. We hope this webinar is worth your time. So this webinar is presented by the Knowledge Hub in association with Just to Easy Company. Okay, Hiba, just to give a quick overview to our attendees, what is Just to Easy? Well, it's a award-winning platform filled with creativity tools for use across curriculum. And it's a complete remote learning solutions for schools. I'm sorry again, I think the screen was not shared. So just to continue, I was saying that it's a complete remote learning solution for schools with tools, applications, games, especially for math, English, computing, and also cross-curricular activities. Are you excited to learn more about this platform, Eva?
Yes, even on all this minor technical issue we face, I'm really
excited
for this webinar.
It happens sometimes. Yeah. So I'm sure our attendees are excited too, and our attendees will also have an opportunity to ask questions at the end of this webinar. So teachers, please remember this is an interactive webinar, so please feel free to ask any questions at your convenience, and also we'll have to hear from our attendees, right?
Yes, please just write in the chat box more about you, what you are teaching, which school, and also your name. We really want to know you better.
Yes, thank you, Iba. So I think let's introduce to them what will be the webinar workflow that we have.
Yes, today, just a quick note about what we are going to cover today. In this session, we will learn more how UK schools rapidly develop students' digital technology skill using Just Too Easy's safe and secure platform. And we will also learn how to ignite passion in coding from early years and how British schools develop creative and higher order thinkers. And it is an opportunity also to consolidate on online edtech tools, saving school money and time in the process. And finally, we will close with question and answer. Please just remember that a recorded version of this webinar will be available to share out with you. So please just feel free after this webinar is finished, just to forward it along with your colleagues and share it with them.
How long this webinar will be, Hiba?
We will be with you for the next 45 minutes.
That's great.
And now to get started, I'm going to introduce, we are going to introduce ourselves. We are a professional e-learning trainers from the Knowledge Hub company. We have several years of experience in educational industry, specialized in e-learning programs, and we are, me and Julie, representing the Knowledge Hub company. The Knowledge Hub company is a Middle East indisputable leaders in the education sector for the past 20 years. Now, Knowledge Hub providing educational solutions and technology integration in K-12 schools and universities, and also Knowledge Hub offering state-of-the-art ICT solutions that support the 21st century learning, successfully established international presence with partners in USA, in Europe, in Asia Pacific, in Africa, and also in UK.
Eva, for giving a quick introduction about our company. Now, let me introduce to you the Just Too Easy company. So, Just Too Easy is the leading British educational technology provider for K-8 teaching and learning since 1994. Just Too Easy, by the way, is used by thousands of UK schools every day to deliver digital literacy in all subjects, and they won multiple BET awards, including Best Digital Tools for Teaching and Learning. And we are so proud that Just Too Easy are now a Knowledge Hub partner to support our Emirati schools. Why not introduce our speaker, Hiba?
Yes, today we are really glad to have Mr. Alistair today. We will introduce to you Mr. Alistair Cameron, who will be leading today's webinar. Mr. Alistair, he is an instructional technologist, professional development consultant, and the director of Just Too Easy. He is passionate about solving education challenges with technology. Mr. Alistair has over 15 years of experience working with governments and schools in 49 countries. He is developing system and use of technology in teaching and learning. With 30% of current workers potentially displaced through automation by 2030, McKinsey, our schools need to foster students' creative skills, essential to differentiate the next workforce generation from computers. The fourth industrial revolution is truly upon us, and Alistair is committed to supporting educators as they embrace the new normal.
Thank you very much, Hiba. So without any further ado, let's hear and learn from Alistair how UK schools rapidly develop students' digital literacy and also technology skills using Just Too Easy platform. Hello, Mr. Alistair. Good morning. How are you today?
Currently, by every school in London, that's about 2,500 schools, every day for teaching and learning, both remotely for remote teaching and learning, and also class-based learning, focusing on digital literacy, and that is incorporated in every subject across the curriculum, whether you're teaching and learning history or politics or maths or English or local language. There is an opportunity to use J2E to enhance digital literacy skills with the aims of ensuring your students are keeping pace with the use of technology and are prepared for the fourth industrial revolution that they keep telling us is here and upon us. So not only schools in London that use our software, but there are thousands of schools around the UK, and that does include Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and also the Welsh Government. Now, the Welsh Government, as an entire nation, are using Just Too Easy to support students in their teaching and learning. So that is every single school in Wales, every single teacher, every single student has access to J2E so that they can set homework, get children actually completing activities online rather than just using a third-party tool like Teams or Word to do something and then using a separate system to compile it all together and then feedback and assess it. All of those tools are within J2E. Okay. First and foremost, your students have, well, with access to Just Too Easy, your students and teachers have their own e-portfolio automatically built in, which tracks and saves everything that they do. And that's built into something called My Files, which I'll just click on here and show you. It's a way to store anything and everything. If you create anything inside Just Too Easy, it saves there. If a student wants to just take a snapshot evidence of something that they've done, whether it is a video, audio, any sort of file type known to man, they will store it automatically into their own My Files. And as such, as the educator, you can see everything that they've done. You can see your classes. You can dip into any class that you want. And then you can see the work that your students have been doing. And then you can provide grades against those activities. So we have not only a system where it works a bit like Google Drive, OneDrive, Dropbox, all rolled into one, but it also can and will instantly integrate with your Microsoft OneDrive for Education or your Google Workspace for Education, what a mouthful that is, Drive as well. So that means logging on to Just Too Easy either via Microsoft or via Google is instant, and it means every single one of your children not only have access to their Google work or Microsoft work, the files that you've been sharing with them, perhaps during lockdown, etc., but also all of the tools from Just Too Easy as well. So your children will come into here, or you as educators will come into Just Too Easy with your Microsoft login, click on your My Files and instantly see and have access to everything from in your OneDrive, which you can then share in context in an educational environment with your students. Or you can use the wide range of additional tools from Just Too Easy to support and enhance your students' learning on so many more levels, which I'm just going to run through very quickly with you now. Okay, first and foremost, I'm going to start with the computing curriculum. Now, here in England, Just Too Easy is actually recommended by the National Centre for Computing and Education, the NCCE. So it's called teachcomputing.org. Teachcomputing.org is the government body that has invested rather lots of millions of pounds into developing resources for the entire curriculum in England for teaching computing. All of the resources are there. They do provide training as well on top of that, so you see a lot of opportunities for signing up for additional training from that. That is the British government curriculum there, and it is all hinging off of the resources from within Just Too Easy, including J2 Code, which incorporates 4 entirely standalone applications for teaching coding from very young children in ages maybe sort of 4 or 5 years old, all the way through to 14 years old, when your children are looking at block coding and much more in-depth and advanced coding too. So with JIT, we provide some theme-based, perhaps space, for example, opportunities for coding. We also provide lesson plans for younger learners with that as well. Now, this is very basic, very simple lesson plans to get you started. The National Centre for Computing and Education resources are far more diverse and provide 100-fold more lesson plans and activities. The lesson plans that are provided also include videos and examples for how to teach that particular subject and that particular lesson using the examples and the resources that are available from within J2E. So if I click on the example, you know, that age-old adage of if you want to write a novel, you need to read a book. The same thing applies within coding, and therefore you will be able to demonstrate how an algorithm works in very basic form. And that would be the completing task here. The lesson plans that follow through for young learners show, for example, how you can then transfer that from an example like this to getting children to understand the differences of the commands, what an algorithm looks like, what debugging looks like, and also how you then can change and customize this tool to suit your own needs and the abilities of individual students, and stretching your students in the class as well, because you might want to ask your children, and the computer program here will be flexible enough to do that. So you could ask your children, such as, you know, how would you get most efficiently to all the planets and then back to the moon's surface? May that be with 1 spaceship or 2 spaceships or 3 spaceships, and introducing the terminologies of sprites and commands and algorithms included. So there's that. That's J2 code for the very younger students. You've got block coding built in, again, with all of the tools and lesson plans, etc. for J2 code as well. So you've got lesson plans here where you've got the template, for example, of Pac-Man, learning to get the children to practice movement and speech as well. And you'll be able to see the different items on the screen and then learn how to control and move them. And then that takes you through to games, which also incorporate some creative options for coding using Logo. So not only have you got the basic program for young children and then the visual block coding program, everything the children do here automatically saves. So you've got no need to hunt around for any of the work that they've done, and it's all evidenced and tracked, and you can map the progress against the curriculum as well. And if you don't have the curriculum, we can upload and provide the particular curriculum that you might want to follow, such as the NCCE curriculum, for example. We've also got the microbit tools built in here. Now, yes, this is all available online as well, so I won't really need to go into too much detail there, but further to the J2 code, we also have J2 data, which is ensuring that children are able to understand and manage working with data, learning about data. Now, again, this app within J2E, within Just Too Easy, does have lesson plans for early years, lesson plans for middle years as well, but incorporates tools to teach data handling from a very young age. And again, all of these resources for teaching data handling are part of the NCCE curriculum and are core parts of teaching and learning about data in most curricula globally these days. So here we've got the opportunity for children to practice counting and tallying a number of different things. Perhaps how you went to school today, what the weather was like, which fruit do you like most. And the very simple tools allow children either on an interactive whiteboard or on their own device. If they're working in pairs or individually with their own device, they can perform these exact tasks. It also gives us an opportunity for, as educators, to use these tools to create these sorts of tallies, introducing them as a class activity where I can prepare one of these for my children first and then start getting my students to interrogate this information. So in this example, I would be asking how many more people like apples than bananas. You know, some really simple activities to get children into the data. Now, all of this is totally editable, sorry, so that you could be counting other things instead, such as mini beasts. Who doesn't love a mini beast activity? But if you want to, you could introduce any other aspect into this at all, have a completely blank canvas to go with. And if you want to use our own clip art that's built in, you can very, very easily do that by using the clip art that's available here. Or, so we could have different faces being shown, for example, there. Let's just go back up. Or we could even search the web. So here I can find images safely from the internet that are safe, appropriate, profanity free, entirely appropriate for use in your market. So if I wanted to just search for something very simple, this is finding internet pictures, but it's not needing to go to the internet at all. And I'm simply just putting these things in the boxes. Let's just have a bus. Let's put a bus in here as well. So this is instantly putting these pictures into my pictogram, and I can start tallying with those things straight away. So you don't have to worry about copyright. You don't have to worry about safe and appropriate images being found or used on the internet by children within the tools. It physically just can't happen. But you still have the use of the power of the internet at your fingertips. So there is J2 data pictogram. We do have these three other tools included, which are for charting. I'm going to make a very simple chart here just for time's sake and just do some counting of different colors. So to be able to represent this to your students, let's add another color in there as well. So we'll go gray, whoops, and we'll go 10. Okay, So now we've got our own chart that we've created instantly. Not only can we then look at the information on this bar chart and see what we've got here, but we could also then switch it around and say, no, we don't want a bar chart, let's have a look at a pie chart instead. And then we can start teaching additional maths here, such as introducing concepts of halves and quarters and fractions can spin off of this as well. And if you want to, you can even look at interpreting data without the table being there, and we can actually just look at this as a block chart or a bar chart or a line graph, for instead, for example. Now, all of that can be used in such a way that it can be taken a picture, and then we can write about it in another tool that we've got here for your students to use too. Further to that, there are included tools such as a branching database, which span teaching data handling, teaching about digital literacy, but also incorporate lessons in language and lessons in logic as well. So here, for example, I'm going to just make an animal sorting database, like a classifications of things. So I'll choose a lion, and I'll choose a bluebird, and I'll choose a camel, and I will choose a monkey. So there we go. We've got 4 very different animals there. We could put anything we want in this database to sort it. So we could even take pictures, we could find images from the internet and put them here safely, or we could use images that we've stored on our own device and uploaded those into this. It doesn't have to be just the clip art. What I need to do is put the animals into the left or right boxes at the bottom and sort them with a question that the children might have created, such as, can I fly? So this already becomes that literacy activity, a digital literacy activity, where children can then learn about not only creating the right types of questions with the right actions in those questions, but also the digital skills and the logical skills involved in choosing the rights or wrongs. So I'm literally just dragging these things into the right or wrong boxes. I still need to sort some of these. So a next question that children may ask is, do I live in trees? And of course we'll put the monkey in the tree, the lion not, and the camel not. And then the last but not least, I need to then sort the lion and the camel. So we'll then have a question of, can I roar? Oh, no. Now, I don't think a camel can roar. Perhaps it can, I may be wrong. But for the argument's sake of this, I will leave it like that. Now here is an opportunity for the children to not only create that classification, create the questions that determines the differences between the animals, but then they can play the game of thinking of one of the flashcards on the left-hand side and then start to determine if their data is correct. And we can answer that by thinking of a lion. So can I fly? No. Do I live in trees? No. Can I roar? I think I can. Yes. Is that correct? Yes. And then we can have a look at the entire database and how we got there. That kind of thing can be done very quickly, very easily with these tools. And I've seen this being done by children as young as 4 and 5 years old, where they're able to then, once they've practiced these sorts of questions, in an independent session, we're able to put together a classification database in under 45 minutes. And we've been able to share these sessions back to the entire class so that we can look at each other's database. How we do that is very simple, because as soon as the child in the class or at home presses save, all of that work is then saved into my files. So we'll just go back to my files again. Here is the branching database, but if I look at the pupils files, I could then go and see one of my students' files immediately because there's nowhere else for it to be saved. One great feature of that is that if you're setting work for your students to be done, if it's not in their own My Files, if it's not in their portfolio in Year 5, for example, and I go into Amy, if it's not there, it's because she hasn't done it. Okay, and last but not leastly, in the digital literacy tools in J2 Data specifically, there is an enormously powerful incorporate all of the full SQL database within very manageable, easy to use tools for children here. I'm going to give you an example of this, but first I'm going to show you that you can define a database, actually create the database from scratch, where we can put anything we want in any of the boxes, such as, you know, deciding to put a name or anything in there, where you can choose what information is going to be collected, whether it's a phone number, an email, a picture, a video, a sound, a date, currency, true or false, yes or no's, a list of different options, and so on and so forth. But if I go and have a look at some examples here, we'll have a look at countries as an example in the database here. Here we've got 24 predetermined records of countries. Flicking through these things here, and those are on the card entry, which we could then look at as a database in a table format, and we can interrogate the data here by searching for anything such as which language is English. So I'm just typing in the box and it'll show up then just English speaking countries. Out of the records there are 3, but let's just cancel that down, because what I might want to do is then go to the next column and then plot country name on the x-axis and population on the y-axis, for example, and then we could perhaps go through the pinwheel and see which colour is best. But perhaps what we may want to do is then interrogate this data even further by adding a further search. So what I can do is then look at which is less than that. And then you've got a population spread over an area of these countries. So that shows you the population of all of the different countries that is below a particular area size. And you can actually use this in so many different ways, because you can then add another search. So you could add another search on top of that. So you could do an either or an and search. And then you could even include which speak a particular language or have a particular currency, for example. So we have the currency of US dollar, and nobody's in there because the United States didn't show up on this database. So you've got so many different ways that you can actually search this database and interrogate it in the way that you really wanted to. But not only can you do that, but you can even take it the next stage further in student learning by grabbing a snapshot view of the data that you've got. I mean, we could put it into a pie chart if you want, and make it into a 3D stack, or we could have it as a histogram, scattergraph, or whatever works for you in terms of getting the data out there. So let's have, I think it probably works best off in that format or that format, so let's just do it like that. But what we can then do is take a picture. That picture is automatically saved into my own My Files, which is here. So there is the picture. But what J2E also enables you to do is, without leaving this tool, you could do this on a mobile phone, or you could do this on a desktop or a laptop, whatever. and you can do it the same in exactly all of those different things. I could either just share that image with one student or a group of students, or I could use it within our desktop publishing tool that we have, that is a hugely popular tool, which allows us to then incorporate not only the picture, but then be able to write about it as well. Where students can simply, as it did say on the screen there, write on the page and start to do what they want with the information straight away, and just choose exactly how they want to represent the data. This allows students to use the tools very simply, very securely, and very effectively, because as I've shown you here, all of this then ends up being saved into the student's own My Files, but it does a lot more rich things besides that too, including where we can embed video, audio, or actually add any other item that we wish from the internet. So I could record some sound and I could play that back to my students here within the page. So I've added some audio onto the page, and you just need to bear with me while that just recreates itself. There we go. So there's the audio, and I could play that back. So here I can layer in some work that I've just made in a database. I can then describe a task if it was a piece of work for my students to complete for themselves, and then I could share that with my students straight away as well from within My Files. You've also got some additional tools here that will allow you to get children to practice very simple things. Let's go on to another page, and perhaps I might want to just draw, let's do it in gaudy yellow. I might want to just draw 2 lines like that, but here will allow me then to use the protractor to actually practice my angles. So I can use this as a way of practicing with a protractor to measure the angles, and here I can just put down my estimated can't type this morning, which looks like it is approximately 125. Okay, so that is a very, very quick whistle-stop tour of the tools within J2E for specifically for computing and specifically for data handling. I could go through a wide variety more tools within the suite for you to take to the rest of the school, and in terms of opportunities for teaching and learning remotely with very unique features such as building avatars for students, writing and painting and animating and all those wonderful things that we do, or simply by creating a way within the J2 PDF tools of providing worksheets for your students from a PDF, but instantly making a multi-page PDF editable for your students to access on a mobile, on a desktop, on a laptop, but actually fill in and answer questions within the PDF itself, which automatically then saves for the students. So that is, in a nutshell, a variety of tools that I've got for you. I should also include the fact that J2 Office is a tool here which provides a word processor, an Excel, a spreadsheet, and a presenting tool. It will save documents in PPTX, in XLSX format, and Word docx format as well, and that will work on any device. So those devices that may not necessarily run Office very well, you will be able to use J2 Office there, and it will save your files automatically too. Okay, that's going to be me in a nutshell. I'm so sorry to keep you guys waiting in this session this morning. I don't know if Julie is still here and she can ask, open her microphone up and see if we need to answer any questions that people have.
Thank you, Alistair. It was a wonderful demonstrations of Just Too Easy product, especially for computing. We have some questions coming here, like is my students will have multiple logins for the different tools available in Just Too Easy?
I'm sorry. Could you just ask that question again, please? You're a little bit faint.
Sorry. So is the students will have multiple logins if they access this Just Too Easy platform?
Multiple logins?
Yes. So will they get multiple logins? For example, the one that you open, J2 code, J2 data, will they have a different login for that?
Okay, so students have their own personal logins to J2E. If you're going to log in with Microsoft or Google, let me just log out and I'll show you how that can be done. So if you want to come to j2e.com and if you would like to use J2E with your Microsoft or Google, depending on which way you might have gone with either Google or Microsoft for your school, you can, as an administrator for those schools, Office or Google, sign in to Just Too Easy at j2e.com by just simply clicking on sign in with Google or sign in with Office. Once the administrator for Google in your school or the administrator for Microsoft in your school has signed in once that way, every single teacher, every single student will automatically be able to then sign in by clicking one of those two options straight away, and you'll all be in the same school and it will reflect everything that's from either within OneDrive or Google Drive and give you all access to that too. But if your students aren't logging in with Microsoft or Google, we very simply create an individual user for every single student, and we can do that in an instant for you, or you can do that yourselves by uploading a CSV file. And once your students are there, they will have their own username and password within your school to access Just Too Easy, and that will be their own secure login, and that will mean that they can log in a classroom if they're lucky enough. Say for example, as a teacher with their own username and password for Just Too Easy, the teacher could be logged into the whiteboard at the front of the class or wherever the whiteboard is in the classroom, but they could also be logged into a mobile or a desktop or a laptop at the same time, meaning they would have multiple opportunities for using the device at the same time. So if I was walking around the class with my phone logged into Just Too Easy, I could take a photo of something a student has done and it would instantly then appear on the whiteboard to share with the rest of the class. But for younger learners, we have the ability to create QR codes for those that aren't so good, and we've all got them, right? Remembering their usernames and passwords. So we can set it up in this way so that each child has their own unique printed out QR code to log in with. And all it would mean is if you then held up a device to that QR code, it would log you straight in without needing to go to any websites. Alternatively, if you had that printed out card and you were at a computer in school, you could click on this little button here and then hold up the QR code there, and it would allow you to log in straight away.
Oh, that's brilliant, Alistair. So there is multiple options to log in. I think, Hiba, we also have some questions, right?
Yeah, we have another question, Mr. Alistair. How this platform enables teaching and learning remotely?
I'm so sorry, the line just dropped.
How this platform, Just Too Easy, enables teaching and learning remotely.
How does this platform enable teaching and learning remotely? Is that the question?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, right. So great. a lot of schools have, well, for example, in England, when we went into sudden lockdown in March last year, a lot of schools looked at the options from Google and Microsoft and said, actually, this isn't fit for purpose, because it isn't fit for purpose in an educational context. It's just a lot of tools that have been shoehorned into something called a Google education space or Microsoft education space. What we do is everything that you would expect to be able to do by providing resources for your students, being able to record yourself and send those resources to students with a strategic plan of how you're going to expect your students to work, and define the workflow for that, so that students can work at their own time and their own pace within the Just Do Easy environment. So how we do that is everything apart from the live online part of teaching and learning. And a lot of schools have said, we're not going to get kids sitting on a Zoom call for 6 hours a day. That's not healthy, it's not good for their well-being, and it's not physically possible to do that anyway for the different lessons that we've got. So we're going to prepare resources, we're going to pre-record something and make that available for our students in a variety of different ways. So first and foremost, what a teacher can do is upload work that they want their students to get on with into the teacher's own My Files area. So what a teacher can do is, I mean, you're looking at my own My Files there for a second. Let me just simply just get a picture here. So here is an image, for example, but this could easily be, oh no, I've got a PDF there. So let me just grab a PDF and I'm going to just drop it into My Files here. So this is a file that I may want my students to work in. What I can then simply do is either share that straight away with the class as a PDF, which isn't that particularly great because it means I'll have to get it then printed out. So I would then share it with a class, and instantly my students in that class will be able to then see that file, open it and start using it. Alternatively, I could set a task as a piece of homework by assigning an activity to my students to say, Knowledge Hub homework today, give the description here of what the task actually is. So have a go at completing this worksheet. And then grab the link for the resource that you want to then share with your students. Record yourself speaking, so I can record an audio instruction to my students to ensure they truly understand what it is that they're going to do. And then choose either the class that I want to share that with or specific students instead. So I could then just share it with that particular student and then assign that homework. So there is the homework. The student will come in here, they will see that they've got that homework, and I will then, as soon as the students start completing the activity, I will then build up a list of all of the students here who have completed it, and I'll then have a link to go straight to their work themselves. So that's one way of doing it. Another way of being able to set out activities for my students to use at home is through the J2E5 tool. So this is like think of this as a desktop publishing package come whiteboard application, come notepad. You can simply do anything that you want with it whatsoever. So for example, I could even write down a list of tasks for students today in my class, and then say first some English. And then if I were to maybe pop a picture of a bus on here, I don't know, I could then make that. So if I've clicked on that image, I could then link that to a specific activity, like, for example, that PDF that I've just uploaded. Which means that if I just go and have a look at that, and if I'm going to share this with my students, I can say that's the English activity, and then it would then take me off to that. That's just a shipping label, silly thing, but that is how you would then link to an activity. And as soon as the student has opened that activity, they will then automatically have that work saved, so that you as an educator can go in and see it and track it and mark it at any time. On top of that, one of the most important things for students, if they are in a remote learning situation at the moment, is well-being. As a student, when children log on and they go into their class, and if they go into Just Too Easy's J2 Stars system, students themselves will be able to create their own avatar, but also change it according to their emotional state. So here we've got the opportunity for changing the characters so that we can see if we're happy, sad, a little bit in between, a little bit surprised, etc. So you've got ways for students to demonstrate to you their own mental state, their own state of happiness or not, as the case may be. Further to that, we've got these additional tools built in for practicing and competing with things like spellings and with times tables as well. So you've got your core principles being able to get focused on here, and this could be done in any language as well. So your spellings, for example, could be done in English, could be done in Welsh, could be done in German, could be done in Arabic. Any language, you can do it here. I'm in the English mode at the moment, which will allow me to practice my spellings.
The baby is having a nap. Pan, frying pan. Kid, is that the kid you like to play with? Kid, is that the kid you like? Doc, the ship at...
For reference, I got that wrong on purpose, just to show you. And then you've got the times tables version of that, which allows you to then practice your times tables up to all the way up to 12 times tables, addition and subtraction against the clock. But if you don't want to play like that and you don't want to practice, you can always also race against other people by going live from people around the world. So I've got me playing here, and I'm racing somebody from London and somebody from the UK and somebody's quite bizarrely from America at this time of day. Gosh. So there is an inordinate array of tools for you to be able to deliver effective teaching activities without the need for Zoom, without the need for delivering a live lesson, but your children can get on with the tasks, and you can incorporate a number of different ways of engaging your students with video, with audio, wrapping that all into one single page. But not only did the children save their work, but they can celebrate their work as well, because incorporated with J2E, it comes integrated with a blog built in, which is very easily manageable. And I'm going to delve into this live. If I just go and have a look at the public version of schools that actually do publish activities in their blogs of work that the students have done, the top school this week, this is not an English school at all, this is a school in Malta. I'm now viewing blog work that was published on the 30th of April, and this is work that has been completed by students in Year 6 in Malta. Or I could look at this school, and I can then scroll through all of the work that they've done, and all of this is in J2E. Haven't left J2E. I'm still seeing all of the work that children have done and completed. And one of the most amazing things is, for some of these schools, we've never delivered any training. Teachers have not only got to grips with the tools for themselves, but they've also been able to publish work as well without any input from me or from anybody within Just Too Easy, which is really good.
You have another question?
Sort of variety. to support and enable teaching and learning at home. You can set work, you can track work, you can even feed back work remotely as well. We do that in a number of ways. So, for example, the work doesn't have to be digital. It could be a video, for example. So here is
so well
a video of Eve making some bread. That work can be fed back on in here by saying, well done, Eve. Or I could include a picture or some audio, which will give the student an opportunity to then write back and have a single one-to-one conversation. So you've got a real wide variety of opportunities for remote teaching, as well as when things are, let's hope, back to normal as soon as possible, an opportunity for really delivering a high quality digital experience for encouraging students to be digitally literate. Okay, sorry, answered short questions.
Yeah, sorry. Just one more question. Does Just Too Easy support the group work?
Does Just Too Easy support more than Google?
Group work.
Can you write that in, please? I'm sorry, I can't quite hear you.
I'm sorry, so it's I just write down.
Or WhatsApp me the message. There we go, thank you. Does Just Too Easy support group work? Yes, absolutely does. So I'm glad you asked that, because that's really important. I showed you this tool, J2E5, which is a tool for collaboration in desktop publishing format. You could create anything here, even if I just wanted to put a picture of that bus back on the page and make it bigger. And then I could even turn it into a jigsaw and, do anything I wanted to it, or just write anything, and then change the size, etc. Put anything on the page, even have word lists, so I can have word lists incorporated, or videos or audio, etc. That tool is entirely collaborative. Once I've saved this as a file, the next thing it allows me to do is share it with my class. So there's me sharing it with my class. But if I make it a collaborative document, they will now all be able to come into this document and work in this document live. So this is a way that you can encourage collaboration, and they can work in a document all together at the same time. You can specify whether it would just be the entire class, or whether it would just be 1 or 2 students working together in that document. So yes, absolutely can be done with full collaboration. Further to that, if you're using J2 Office, every single one of those can be a collaborative document. But also, if you're using J2 Data, the database, children can actually, from remote locations, share the database and start creating, and not only just creating the database and defining what goes into the database, but you can actually then contribute to the database from anywhere as a collaborative document. And I do this a lot when I'm working with teachers in any setting. If we're all in the same school, I can instantly create a link. Let me show you how I do this. So if I just look for a database hit here, for example, so the Apollo missions, for example, here is a list of all of the Apollo missions with pictures of when it went, when each mission took place, etc. So that is the Apollo missions, but I can simply create a QR code. And if any of you have a QR code, you could actually then instantly access that database. And if you were all in the same class as me, you would then start to be able to add and edit information within that database. So you can work collaboratively in most tools. The only ones that you can't collaborate in are the infant tools, the younger tools, the painting, the writing tools for younger learners. But everything else, absolutely yes. Great question, thank you.
Alistair, we have another question.
Alistair, we have one more question before maybe to end the webinar. I send it to you as a message.
Okay, yes, thank you. I just yes. So the question is, does Just Too Easy support any management support systems? I'm thinking that is another terminology for a management information system or a student information system. Yes, is the answer. We connect to the majority of different systems that schools could be using. So the answer would be to, if you would like to sample an integration, let us know what it is that you're using, what system it is that you would like us to integrate with, and we will make it happen for you. And whether that is another LMS or whether it is an SIS or a different management system of any description, we don't have.
Thank you very much, Alistair, for those wonderful insights that we learned for a Just Too Easy platform, especially for student digital literacy. So for those who are still with us now, thank you very much for bearing with us. And for more information, you could contact us on the following informations that shows on the screen. We are more than happy to assist you for any questions that you might have for Just Too Easy platform. Right, Hiba?
Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for your time. I wish you a very happy day. So goodbye.
Thank you very much. Bye.